Happy Thursday, FLOSSTUBE. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing? It has been a little while, and I've really missed you, and I've missed doing this. So it is a little late in the day today. It's Thursday, May the 27th, here in London, Ontario, Canada, where I'm recording, and it is already 6 p.m. It's at the end of a very long day, but I had a lot of things to tell you, so I have made a list. It's a giant list. I know myself well, and I knew that if I didn't have a list today, I would be in big trouble and things would be a lot longer than they could have been. Okay, so let's get right to it. The first little bit of business that I need to take care of is I need to tell you who won the $50 gift certificate. I put this up as a giveaway last week. This is a $50 gift certificate to Abby Top Knot Stitcher Shop, and I'll leave a link in the drop down box below once again this week to her shop, because this was a really wonderful donation that Abby made to the Duck Derby, fundraiser charity event that Emily C. was helping to raise money for Advocates for Children. And I donated some money and I won a prize. And so I chose the $50 gift certificate from Abby's shop that she had donated. And then I decided to pass along the love and pass it out to a lucky winner. So I recorded when I used the random comment, YouTube random comment generator, and I videoed who won. So are you ready? Here you go. Who's gonna win? So congratulations, Cheryl Plourde. You are the lucky winner of the $50 US gift certificate to Abby Top Knot's shop. So also check her out on YouTube. She's got her own YouTube channel, which I neglected to mention last week. I told you about her shop and I told you about her Instagram, but I didn't also mention that she, of course, also has a wonderful YouTube channel. So I will also link in the drop down box below. Okay, so the next thing up is I have a chart to give away today. It's not Monday. Usually I do a Because Monday giveaway, but it's been, I didn't do a video on Monday this week either, did I? So because Thursday, I am giving away a chart that was sent to me from Deborah. You may remember that Deborah sent me a really wonderful package of Stitchy kindness in the mail a few weeks back. And she had included a couple of charts in there. And a couple of them were the Cottage Garden samplings chart. And this one I have already, and I love this chart. And so I thought this was a really beautiful giveaway to offer up. I will send anywhere in the world, and you can enter this over on the Facebook group. It's Friday Off the Grid. So the group is called Friday Off the Grid, and you can join us over there. So this is the Bluebird of Happiness from Cottage, let me get it right. Cottage Garden Samplings. It's such a beautiful chart. The pinks and the blues. Let's make sure it gets focused there. Is it focused? Yeah, there we go. So pretty. So you can leave me a comment. I will put the post up. Try to remember to do it before I head home tonight. It will be up. You'll see a photo of it, and you can just leave me a comment on that post, and I'll draw a winner next week. Okay, so speaking of Stitchy kindness, I received a card in the mail last week from Desiree. And this was just, it was one of those times where you open your mailbox and when you see a card in there that's handwritten and it's to you and you think, oh, somebody sent me something, you know, with something nice written inside, and it's always just so much better than bills and things like that, the regular things that you get in your mailbox. So Desiree sent me this beautiful card. Isn't that pretty? And look what she sent me. These are so wonderful. I've never seen these before. They're stickers Look at these stickers. Aren't they amazing? And there's several different sheets of them. So they're called FLOSSTUBE sticker sheet, and they're by, I want to get the name right, Paper Minty. Desiree wrote it in here. Paper Minty Studio on Etsy. Desiree, your handwriting is beautiful, by the way. My handwriting is the pits, so I always appreciate really beautiful handwriting. So there's a project bag on there, and there's floss and scissors. They are so pretty. Look at the colors in this one. Soft blues. There, look at that. Really pretty. And this one, more fall, autumnal colors. That looks like it's a box of macarons, but I thought maybe it was a box of Valdani floss. Isn't that funny? Could be. We could pretend it's Valdani floss. Isn't that beautiful? So that one is called this one is called Midday Tea. Oh, so each sticker sheet is different. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. So this one's about FLOSSTUBE. This one, I noticed that they were different, but not that they had different names. I thought it was a set. This one's called Embroidering Magic. And this one's called Midday Tea. That one there. And then this one is Cozy Knitting. Cozy Knitting. Oh, you know what? There's two of those. I might have to tuck those in somebody's package that I send out. And look at Timeless Floral. Oh, that is so beautiful. Look at these. Aren't they pretty? I think I'm gonna have to start like Brenda and Laura, with their stitching journals. I think I'm gonna have to start my own stitching journal. But knowing myself, I'd be one of those people where I'd fill out like the first, oh, come on, you can focus there. It's late in the day and the lighting is not good, so I'll do my best. Hopefully that's okay. So pretty. Desiree, thank you so much. It was really very kind, and I really, really love them. And I loved your note. It was really, really, really thoughtful. The other thing that came in my mailbox this week was entirely splurge on myself. I have been eyeballing Yamir's silk floss for ages now, ever since she first opened her shop. So Yamir is Almond M&Ms on YouTube, and also her shop online, and she sells little beautiful teeny tiny little nuggets of silk goodness. And I had been telling myself I could wait until my birthday, and I found out that Yamir was moving, and I thought I had to help her out. I had to, you know, maybe help her inventory control a little bit, help her out a little bit before she moved. So I placed an order for the spring set, and look at how it arrived in this tiny little perfect, like, so I've taken them out, trust me, I've taken them out and oogled them and played with them, but I wanted to keep them wrapped up in the packaging so you could just see how perfect it was. Beautiful little washi tape on the outside, lovely little parcel. And then on the inside, look at them all. I think there's 12. And they are, oops, I just dropped one. Hang on a sec. Ooh, okay. They are little itty bitty nuggets of silk wonderfulness. Do you see how absolutely teeny tiny the handwriting is? Hopefully I've got that the right side up. I do. Okay. So this one is called Dried Rosemary. I had it focused before, and of course now it's gonna, there we go. Look at that. Teeny tiny handwriting. Yamir is renowned for her absolutely stellar minuscule stitching. So, you know, 1/1 on 56 count. I mean, just miniature, gorgeous, very, very petite and delicate and just absolutely beautiful. And her handwriting is you know, it's what I would expect from Yamir, but to see it and to feel them, her colors are beautiful and just absolutely so pretty. So instead of showing you all of them individually, I highly recommend that you check out her shop. So Almond M&Ms, I'll put a link to her shop in the drop down box below. But I did purchase these for myself. This was a birthday treat. My birthday's in July, but that's okay. And go check them out for yourself, because they're just like little bonbons of silk floss. They're so pretty. I almost don't want to use them because they're so pretty. They're beautiful. So this, again, this was the spring set that I bought. Yamir, they're absolutely perfect. I love them. Thank you. Happy birthday to me. Pretty great. Okay, so I have a lot of shop update information. So if you've been waiting to hear for information on both the Modern Folk Embroidery Rule of Life Stitch Along and also the Spring Quakers, Rosewood Manor Spring Quakers conversion that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, I am going to be talking about both of those things in much greater detail, but I'm going to do those later on in our visit today so that I can sort of keep all of the shop update information at the end of our visit. So let's show you what I've been working on. I did write it all down so that I wouldn't forget anything. So what I had to do was, before I left the house for work this morning, I took a couple of video clips of the projects that I've been working on that I've got on my frames, because I didn't want to undo everything from the scroll frames and lug them into work and then have to lug them back home and reattach them to the frames. So there were 3 projects that I just took quick little video snapshots of, and I'll just pop them into the video as I'm talking, as I tell you about them. Okay, so the first one was Santa's Village. And so Santa's Village, this is an oldie. This is an oldie but a goodie. So I'll put the clip in first of my progress so you can see that first. So I did a fair bit since the last time I shared it with you. I mean, a fair bit for me. Many of you would have already have finished it by now, but that's okay. We all work at our own pace. So Santa's Village, I am stitching that on, it is a 36 count mystery fabric. I have no idea what it is. I know it's a lovely piece of hand dyed that I bought from my needlework shop way back in the day, and I have no clue what it is. But it is, I am using the called for floss. So the flosses that were called for in the charts, I am using that. Country Cottage Needleworks. And next up, do you remember Savon? You all remember Savon. I worked on Savon for 3 years. And you all, you know, saw Savon day in, day out, and then I finally finished it at the, you know, beginning of this year, and waited a little while before I started the next one, but I did start the next one, and that is, the name of the one that I'm stitching next is called Oz, and these are, oh, I brought these charts with me. So this is the chart. The cover photo never looks anything like what these charts, what these designs end up looking like. But that's you can tell what the pattern is going to look like. And I'll just pop in a quick video of my little start. I'm well on my way. Those things are about 39,000 stitches. it's a square, so 39,000 stitches of full coverage. I am stitching on a 16 count off-white natural kind of Aida, and I'm using the called for DMC floss. These are, if you haven't seen these charts before, these are a series of charts put out by Landmark Tapestries and Charts. One of the only places that you can find to purchase them online is the Celtic Hobbies Claire. So www.celtichobbies.com. And Claire, those of you who purchased Savon while I was stitching that, Claire provided many charts, many people with those charts. And I know some of you were planning on starting Oz with me as well. So I know that Claire's shop was closed for a while because they were moving. I think they were undergoing a really big move. So she had her shop closed for a little while, to the best of my knowledge, and I haven't actually checked it in the last little while, but I think that she was due to reopen like the first or second week of May. So if you were hoping to order this chart or one of the Landmark charts, she's probably opened again. So that's www.celtichobbies.com. And just in case I forget to put a link down below. And Claire, I really like, I've always enjoyed dealing with Claire. So yeah, it comes in a series of these pillow patterns, and frankly, they're rather addictive to stitch. So I have already stitched 5. Those ones are earmarked for my daughter Sarah, and the next set of 5 are earmarked for my son Nicholas. So Savon is the first of his 5 charts. Someone asked me once how I plan to frame them, and so I don't often talk about that, but that is a great question, because when you're dealing with a series of patterns like this and you want to think about how best to display them, or what am I going to do with these when I'm done. So because I had always planned to give these to my children, and in a set, I waited until I had all 5 of the original ones completed for Sarah, and then I had them all framed at the same time. So it was one of those cases where I saved up my pennies, and then I went and I picked out exactly what I wanted. These patterns, even though I don't know, there's just something about these charts. I love stitching them. When I look at the colors, when I first pull the floss, I usually end up thinking, I'm not sure I love those colors. But as I stitch through it and as the colors sort of come to life, I just find them, it's soothing. It's soothing stitching. The colors are bright and comforting. I don't know, there's really just something comforting about it. I just love these charts. Can't say enough good things about them. So again, Landmark Tapestries and Charts. This is Oz. The other, if this colorway doesn't float your boat, and again, don't go by the cover photo. I didn't bring the DMC colors with me, but I'll try to remember to tell you those next week in case you're curious. But the alternate colorway, the alternate chart for Oz is Kazakh. Kazakh is more autumnal colors, so the browns and the golds and the, I think there's some blue in there as well. It's beautiful. That actually was the very, very first one that I ever stitched, was Kazakh. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, good. So hopefully I remembered to insert the video. If not, guess I'll pop it in now, but I'm pretty sure I already did that. So, or future me already did that. Good, okay. So next up, this one is fun. I was a joiner, and I joined into a stitch along, or I got pulled into a stitch along, and I completely blame Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, my partner in stitch along crime. She is she's so much fun, Ellen. So she was pulled into a stitch along by Laura of Brenda and the Serial Starter. And this, of course, is for the Joan Sands sampler from Modern Folk Embroidery. And it's so pretty. So normally I can say no. Well, that's a fib, isn't it? sometimes I can say no to a new start when lots of other people are doing it, but not always. And when I looked at this one, it made me think about my Anne Morrison sampler. Anne Morrison was the sampler put out by Traditional Stitches. It was the exclusive Hands Across the Sea pattern that they did for Traditional Stitches celebration of their 20th anniversary in business. And I purchased, Janice sent me the chart because I was chatting about it on FLOSSTUBE, but I fell in love with that chart, and so I kitted it up myself, and I purchased the 46 count fabric, and I purchased all of the 103 silks to do the chart, and that's unusual for me to sort of go big like that on a project that I know has things in it that I will need to think about. And so 46 count is pretty small for me. I'm very comfortable with 40, and I just need to practice on the 46. But it's also, the pattern is full of Algerian eyelets. There are a lot of eyelets in it. And this is what drew me to the Joan Sands sampler, because there were some eyelets, but not millions of them. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to really become at peace with my fear of the Algerian eyelet. And then maybe I might be brave enough to tackle the Anne Morrison, because that sampler, they're just so beautiful. And I just need to, I need to put on my brave pants and just give it a try. So I jumped in with both feet to the Joan Sands sampler, and the other people in that stitch along at the moment, oh, and there's a few hashtags for it and I can't remember. It's funny, it's called the Joan Sands Hogmanay sampler. I can't remember the full title. I don't have the chart in front of me, but whenever I see the Hogmanay is Scottish New Year, whenever I see that word in my head, I used to pronounce it Hogmanay, which is not the correct way to pronounce it. But whenever I would see Hogmanay, I would think hootenanny. I don't know why. So whenever I see the word Hogmanay, I now think hootenanny in my head. And so Laura said we should do a hashtag hootenanny sampler. But anyways, I digress. There are a few different hashtags out there, and I think by now most of the other people involved in this stitch along have mentioned it. So if you're stitching the Joan Sands sampler and you'd like to join in, I'm sure, you know, the more the merrier, right? So at the moment, the people that I know of that are in the stitch along are Laura from Brendan the Serial Starter, Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, Betsy Klieger, you can find her on YouTube. She's a hoot. With her cat Hamilton especially. Oh, beautiful, beautiful cat. Nikki Noodle from Australia. And we have two people who do not have floss tubes, but they are on Instagram. First one is Gwyneth. You can find her at curlingstones.and.xstitches. And then we've got Kathy, who is Kathy Taz Perdon. And it's a lot of fun. So let me put in a little video clip of where I got to. So, you know, for me, for a new start, not too bad, right? I am using Leo&Roxy flosses. So I haven't, and that was totally Ellen's idea, because she had enough flosses to get started, and she said, oh, maybe I'll just use these. And I said, oh, that's a good idea. I happen to have those colors too, so I'll join you. So I was a total hanger-on once again. So the only 5 colors that I have sorted out so far, as you can see, are completely in the border, and that is Merlot. So I should show you. This is Merlot, and beside Merlot is Flamingo, and then Bébé, Sage, and Caramel. So those are the 5 colors that I have in the border so far. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I'm sticking with the border first, and then as I go, I'll choose my colors as I go. So that's been really fun. It's fun to feel like a joiner sometimes, right? Okay, next up. Oh, I didn't tell you about my fabric, did I? You've already seen the video clip, so hopefully you could see the fabric a little bit, because it is a beautiful piece of 40 count linen from xJuDesigns in the Little Bunny colorway. Beautiful, beautiful color, just very subtle, very, very lovely color from Jukas. Really beautiful. Okay, next up we have these projects I have here with me because they were off the frame, and one of them I had on those handy clamps, so it was easy just to pull out and bring with me this morning. So Nevermore, this is by Leela's Studio. This is the chart. I love this chart. I love this chart. I've loved it ever since I first saw it, but I'm doing a complete conversion on this. So here's where I've got to so far, and it's so pretty. It's just, that design is just so delicate and pretty. I love it so much. Okay, so my fabric is a 40 count linen in ecru from Hand Dyed by Rolanda, and the Leo&Roxy flosses that I've chosen so far, again, I'm choosing these as I go, so these are not I haven't kitted up a conversion or anything, which I might do when I'm all done, but for now I had some trouble with this. I'll tell you about it in a minute. So the bottom color that I've decided on and I love is Morticia, and then the bottom border and the border here, and then in between there, that's Vampish. And then this lovely wine color is called Vixen. And then in here, in the triangles, I stitched those triangles 5 times with different colors because I just wasn't happy with what I was choosing. So what I've ended up going with is called Plum Shadow. So my triangles are with Plum Shadow. And then once again, I started stitching this motif. I must have stitched it again 5 times. Couldn't decide on the color that I liked. So I ended up going with Vampish. So this entire side motif, this one here, this one, I'm doing entirely with Vampish. And then I know that this one will be Vixen over here. I haven't quite decided on these two yet there, but really, really fun. That's been a lot of fun to stitch. I'm stitching 1 thread over 2 on 40 count. That's my standard on 40 count, is 1 thread over 2. My last stitching whip, I pulled out an oldie. I love this so much. Okay, so this is the Modern Folk Embroidery 2018 Mystery Stitch Along. Remember this one? It's been at least 2 years. I am completely in love with this again. It's just so beautiful. And do you want to know why it languished? I've told this story once before, but I'll tell you again in case you didn't hear the one time 3 years ago that I told the story. I exaggerate, it was maybe 2 years ago. But I was stitching this, it was on a set of scroll rods where you based your project to the twill wrap that's on the bar, and then you put your scroll rods in your frame. Well, I stripped the screws right out of the scroll rods because I have a very bad habit of really cranking the tension on the knobs of the scroll rods, and those poor screws, you know, they don't stand a chance. they eventually just give, and then, you know, they start to come loose, and then eventually they just came out. And I kept saying to myself, oh, I'll have to take that off and put it on a different pair of scroll rods. 2 years later, here we are. I finally thought enough is enough, because I was working on the 2021 stitch along. It really made me hanker to get back to and put some progress in the older one. So I don't know if you'll remember what I had before, so let me tell you what I've done that's new. So this section here, this is the May month. So I completed this entire border here, the corner here, that corner's done. I did a little bit of that border in there. These motifs are new. That one might have been old. No, maybe I did that one. I can't remember now. This is over the last 2 weeks. So these are definitely new. And this whole section down in here is also all new. All that in there. So not a ton, but it's so fun. It's so beautiful. This is a piece of 40 count R&R Reproductions fabric in the Patriots Brew colorway. And I am using a really beautiful silk floss from Vicki Clayton. This is old stock, called Zaffra Cobalt, and that's spelled Z-A-F-F-R-E, second word cobalt, C-O-B-A-L-T. And at the time that I started this, Jacob had actually emailed me because he had seen the floss tube that I'd done where I was talking about what I was going to use and how much I had, and he said, I don't think you're going to have enough floss for that. You may want to reconsider your colors, or possibly use 2 colors or whatnot. And but then I had a viewer reach out to me, and she said, I actually happen to have some Zaffra Cobalt from Vicki Clayton, and she sent it to me. So when I pulled this back out again a couple weeks ago, I dug through all of my email because I knew what I was looking for, and it took me a little bit, but I tracked her down. I found the email conversation thread that I'd had with Barbara, and I emailed her and I said, guess what I'm working on again? I want you to know that I haven't forgotten about it, and that I just, you know, I was going to appreciate every inch of this beautiful floss that you'd sent me. And she did reply, and she said she had started this at the same time as me with I think a fuchsia, another Vicki Clayton color that she'd had in her stash, and apparently she hasn't touched it in a few years either. So Barbara, if you're watching this, I hope that you and I can encourage each other to maybe put a little bit of love in our mutual samplers every month. That may be a bit of a lofty goal, but I think not keeping it on the scroll rods and instead using the handy clamps, I've gotten really quite adept at using, because that was the thing that really bothered me about the handy clamps, was the fact that it would leave the mark on my linen, because I'm terrible at taking them out again when I'm done for the night. But I just started using more quilt batting. I just sort of started layering it across the project and then rolling up the rod. And it works a treat. Doesn't leave a line anymore. So that's it. That's it for what I've been working on for my stitching. So there you go. Knitting. Now I didn't bring it, but I have been asked fairly recently by a few people who are very curious as to whether or not I have been working on Sarah's Afghan. And I can very happily tell you that I have. I've put in a whole inch of progress in the last week. Those rows are long. The rows, I'm knitting the Talon Throw by Brooklyn Tweed. Next time I'll try to do a little bit of a video from home, and then I can show it to you there. It's really bulky, and I already, you know, pack mule in a lot of stuff to and from work, so I might try to video that at home so I can show you what it looks like. But I have been working on it. So if you're curious, don't worry. And Sarah doesn't graduate university for another 2 years. So that was the promise. I said would be done when she finished university. So I've got 2 years to go. I can totally do that. So I did work on my sock. Look, I'm almost at the toe. I know, right? These should be done by now. Every time I watch Shiloh, xStitch MD, and she shows like a million pairs of socks in every episode, and she says, oh yeah, I knit this pair of socks, and I knit this pair of socks, and I knit this pair of socks. I think she is such an inspiration. She said something really interesting in her last video, and in fact, I did send her a comment about it. She mentioned that she now can knit her socks without looking at them. And I've known a few people that can do that. My friend Jessica Jane is like, I bow down to Jessica Jane because I've watched her knit, and she can look around the room and take part in conversations, and she's just knitting away on these teeny tiny little needles. And I just think if I ever tried to do that, it would be disaster, because those stitches are so small, and I'm terrible at picking up sock stitches if they fall off. Like, it's almost hopeless. I'm sure I could get better at it if I practiced, but I avoid it at all costs. So Shiloh has figured out that she can knit her socks without looking at them. And so she knits while she's in Zoom meetings or class. She's still studying. She's not quite done her time as a student yet. And so she gets quite a lot of progress done while she's in these meetings. And she said, I find it helps me focus more. It helps me concentrate. And that is absolutely 100% true. And I'm sure so many of us out there can relate to that. When we have something in our hands, when we have something keeping our hands busy, we are able to either be more of a part of a conversation, or we're able to take in more information of what is being spoken to us. We hear better. It's a really funny thing, but it reminds me of something that I heard about from, I've mentioned this podcast before, but it's one of my favorites, Heather Ordover from Craftlit. And I am so far behind on her podcast, but she's marvelous. Craftlit, she did this discussion about something that she called cognitive anchoring. And it's exactly what Shiloh was talking about, cognitive anchoring. And it's the act of doing something with your hands, like knitting, that helps you focus on things that are going on around you. And I just find that so fascinating how our brain does work like that. I just think that's really cool. So cool. But you'd think I could finish a silly sock, right? So we'll see. Okay, so let me see where I'm at here. I think I'm at the end of all of my personal bits and bobs. So I'm gonna move on to a shop update. Talking about the shop and what's been going on in the shop and things to come in the shop, because there's a lot. So fair warning, if you're not interested in hearing anything about what I do for work, and you're just here for the personal crafty chat, then that part's done for today, and I will hopefully be back next week with another floss tube. I've been really busy lately, and some really big and exciting things are coming in the next few months that I'm so excited about. Some of the things that I get a chance to work on and then share with you in the coming months ahead, because there's some really fantastic things that well, I think they're pretty fantastic anyways, and I'm really excited to share them with you. So but I definitely did find that I am not able to accomplish all of what I want to accomplish by myself. And I think that that's a pretty normal thing to have happen. And having my daughter Sarah here has been wonderful, but we still were finding that there was just a little bit too much work for even the two of us. So I have hired some people to help me out, and I think I have a really wonderful group that I get to work with. So they're still brand new, so I suspect you will get to meet them over time. But just to give you a really quick brief introduction. I have asked if they are willing to, you know, be on video and share photos and things like that, and they are. But we're all still getting to know each other. We're all still very new. So for today, I'll just tell you who they are and sort of what they're going to be helping me out with here at the workshop. So I should start with that. In case you don't know, my business is called Evertote, and I make project bags for crafters, and I also am the exclusive seller of the Leo&Roxy cotton over dyed floss and fabric. It's coming. It's coming. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. So I have hired 3 people to help, and the first person, her name is Hannah, and Hannah started today. And Hannah is going to be helping me mostly with the floss side of the business. So she's going to be helping Sarah wind the floss, so card the floss, knowing what we've got, so inventory control, keeping it all organized and neat and tidy, and also therefore packaging and shipping. So she's going to sort of take on all of that role, as well as some photography. So if you start to notice that the photography of the floss starts to look a whole lot better, that is all thanks to Hannah and the work that she is going to be doing. Next up, we have Matt. We have Matt, and Matt is going to be helping me out with the fabric side of the business. So all of the cutting and all of the measuring and everything that goes into that part of bag making. So cutting all of the batting, cutting all of the fabric, putting everything together, hoisting everything around. That's going to be Matt. Matt's also going to also jump in with some floss winding and some sewing as well. So Matt is very good at using a sewing machine. So Matt's going to be helping out on the sewing front as well. And then last but not least, we have Arzu, and Arzu is going to be the main person helping me out with the sewing. So she's going to be helping out with the seaming, the piecework, the top stitching, and all of that good. Arzu is a student currently at, well, she's on summer break, but she's a student currently at our local college's fashion design program. And so her sewing is top notch, and I'm really excited to have her. I'm really excited to have them all on board. I think we're going to all get along really well. We are still in a pandemic, so we are still practicing mask wearing, social distancing, sanitary hand washing practices, etc., etc. But it's nice to have a small start. It's nice to have a bit of a small start of what feels like maybe we're on the road to what life, you know, feels a little bit more normal anyways, again, even wearing masks. So it was I feel very fortunate that I have managed to find some people that I think are going to do a great job. So I'm going to have some help. Which is good, because boy, oh boy, do we have some things happening. All right. So first of all, in the shop, we need to talk about Jacob's pattern, Rule of Life, because guess what arrived in the mail? I know the charts arrived in the mail finally. Boy, oh boy, that was, whew. They took a while to come to me here in Canada, and then they got stuck in customs for a couple of days, and anyways, neither here nor there. I got them yesterday and I managed to ship them back out again. There are still a couple more to go, but they are going with bags, so they should be on their way shortly. But guess what else arrived in the mail? Ellen's model. She sent it to me so that I could share it with you. Are you ready? Okay. Look at that. It's so beautiful. It is amazing. Ellen, your stitching is beautiful. And I'm gonna show you, because Ellen says, don't look at my back. My backside is terrible. Ellen, I think you got a pretty great backside too. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? Whew, wow. So this is what we get to stitch. This is what I have been sending out floss for all week. So just the few details, again, modern folk embroidery, rule of life, Quaker inspired design. I still have 12 physical charts left in the shop. And once my copies of this have sold out this time, I will not be restocking this chart for now. This one, I'm going to close the sales on this when the stock that I have has sold. So if the charts that I have are sold out, the physical copies, you are still going to be able to get the PDF copy from Jacob's website, so www.modernfolkembroidery.com. So it's never too late to go and grab yourself a PDF and join in. And I still have quite a bit of floss. So if you're interested in stitching this chart with the floss that Jacob charted it for, there are 3 Leo&Roxy colors, Vampish, Plum Shadow, and Caramel. And those are the flosses that Ellen used. Ellen stitched this on a 36 count piece of, just like me, mystery linen. It was something she had in her stash and it was perfect with the colors, so she used it. And so yeah, 36 count, 1 strand over 2. So the way I've got it listed in the shop is you can buy it as a set of 5 if you want to stitch 1 strand of floss over 2, or you can buy a set of 9, which will give you enough floss to do 2 strands over 2. I am going to be stitching this on a, actually I haven't chosen my fabric yet. I thought I'd chosen my fabric and then I changed my mind. So I'm not quite sure yet, but it'll be over 1, it'll be 1 over 2, or it'll be 2 over 2. I know that much. And it's gorgeous. Look at it. Wow. Wow, Ellen. Wowee. So beautiful. Oh, I had a linen floss in the front there. So I'll give you one more look without the added visitor there. So pretty. So, so pretty. Just beautiful. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna fold that right side in. So I'll have to figure out a way to display it so that maybe I can put it up on the wall until we're done the stitch along, and then I'm going to mail it back to Ellen. Oh, I just love it. I love it. Okay, next up, Spring Quakers. Oh, wait. I need to finish Rule of Life first. This is why I wrote it down, folks, so that I would remember everything that I had to tell you. Okay, so yeah, PDFs are in Jacob's shop. Okay, the stitch along. The stitch along is going to start on June the 18th. But again, you can start anytime you want. So I figured June 18th would be plenty of time. It's 3 weeks from now for those orders that I've just sent out yesterday and this morning, so that it gives 3 weeks for those packages to arrive. And my fingers are crossed that most people, there might be a few in Australia who might not receive theirs in quite enough time for a June 18th start, but I hope that it won't be too much of a wait. So yeah, June 18th, that's when we're going to start the stitch along, and we'll come up with a hashtag closer to the time. I'm sure it will be something, you know, fairly standard. Rule of Life, Modern Folk Embroidery, Rule of Life Sal, something like that. Or MFE. Why don't we shorten Jacob's shop name, Modern Folk Embroidery? We'll just do MFE, Rule of Life Sal. That might work. Okay, that was all I had to tell you about that stitch along. Okay, so next stitch along and shop update information is about the Spring Quakers conversion that I've been talking about for a little while now. This was an idea from Libby of Cheeky Mare on YouTube. And Libby emailed me shortly after the April set of floss came out. It was a set of 10 sampler colors. And Libby said, I've wanted to start the Rosewood Manor Spring Quakers for a while. Do you think that those sampler colors would work? Do you think that they would make a good conversion? And I said, well, I've been wanting to stitch Spring Quakers for a while, and I think most of those colors would be pretty perfect. So I dug out my chart, and so here it is. Here's what it looks like. I've had this chart for years. It's so pretty. This is what the pattern looks like. And it calls for Valdani floss. Valdani floss 3-ply that comes in those balls that look like that. And the way that Valdani floss works is you pull it directly from the ball and you stitch with it as it comes off. So you're stitching with 3 strands. And so I've converted the colors in this chart to some Leo&Roxy floss, and I've put those colors together. So I hope that you think that they're as pretty as I do. So actually, you know what's probably going to be easier for me to, there's quite a few. There's 14. There's 12 colors, but 2 of the flosses you need 2 skeins. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to pop in the photo that I've used for the shop so that you can get a good view of what they are. Really beautiful. So I think all but 4 of those colors are colors that have been released before. Many of them were from the sampler set, and there was a couple of colors from before that. I think Steel was one of the original from the set of blue. The new Dialot of Steel is a little bit different. So it is the new Dialot of Steel that's in the conversion. And okay, so I'll tell you about the 4 new colors in just a minute, because did you notice that there was fabric under the floss? You saw that right. I have a very limited quantity of brand new fabric dyed by Carrie, and it's the very first time that I'm going to be offering her fabric. The fabric is called On Taupe of Her Game. That's the colorway name. And the description, I need to read you the description of this fabric because it's quite good. Hang on a second here. It's in my thing. Okay, on Taupe of Her Game, a light brown on the cooler side, rose undertones with subtle hints of moss. Being a hand-dyed linen, please expect varying degrees of distress between dye lots. Now, people have different ideas of what subtle means. And remember, this is hand-dyed fabric. So, and you will be amazed at what you will achieve with the exact same recipe on 2 different pieces of fabric. It will just turn out completely different. Those of you who have bought a lot of hand-dyed linen in the past will already know this quite well. So for example, one of the pieces, here's what one of them looks like. So you do see a little bit of light rose undertone, some very light green mossy modeling on some of it. It's a beautiful fabric. And then this piece has a little bit more of the rosy undertone, and the modeling is a little bit heavier. So the mossy green comes out just a little bit more on this piece. So I have very limited quantities, and I'm selling this with the caveat that you should be prepared, you know, that all of the fabric's going to look different. So if heavy modeling is your thing and you receive a piece that doesn't have as much heavy modeling, or vice versa, I hope that you will still love it and enjoy stitching on it. So if that sort of thing would really bother you, that you would receive a piece that had heavy modeling on it or didn't, and you were hoping that it did, then perhaps, you know, then it wouldn't be the fabric for you. But hand-dyed, that's part of the fun of hand-dyed fabric, that you're not quite sure what you're gonna get. But I can guarantee you, they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. So that is the fabric. I have 12 fat quarters of 28 count and no, yeah, 12. I have 12 fat quarters of the 28 count, and I have 9, possibly 10 fat quarters of 32 count. I have listed them separately in the shop, so you can choose either way. I have also listed the set of 14 flosses separately without fabric. So, and I have lots of floss. So if you want to stitch this along with Libby and I, then it's in the shop now. So that's Spring Quakers, and I hope Libby's okay with this start date for the stitch along. I did not ask her permission before this, but I figured since, oh, and this is all going to ship next week. It's ready to go, so I'll be shipping it out next week. There won't be a delay. It's not a pre-order. If you order it now, I'll have it out to you next week. So I've allowed another 3 weeks for those packages to arrive. So this stitch along will start on June 25th. So 1 week after the Rule of Life stitch along, June 25th. And again, Cheeky Mare, and that's M-A-R-E, and her name is Libby, and you can check out her YouTube channel as well. Okay, so that's it for Spring Quakers. If you have any questions at all about anything that's new going in the shop, anything about the conversion, anything about Jacob's chart or pattern or the floss or anything, you can either leave me a comment on this video or you're welcome to email me at any time, caroline@evertote.com. Okay. There are 4 new colors in the conversion that I had never released before in the shop. So earlier today, I had Hannah take some photographs of the 4 new colors, and I have listed them as a set in the What's New in May tab on the shop. And so those 4 colors are, I'll put a photo up because trust me, her photo is better than what, well, what the heck, let's show you anyways. Okay, so this is Coho. I love this color. I love this color. I want to stitch this on a monochrome with black floss. Oh, it's so pretty. So that's Coho. This is Light Sage. We already had a sage, but we needed a light and we needed a dark for the conversion. So this is the Light Sage. Just for, I'll show you that in a minute actually. And then the other new sage, the Dark Sage, that's this one. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And then just for reference, here's the medium and the light together. So that's those are the 3 layers of color in the sage, you know, lineup. We need this to focus. There we go. So pretty. So, and then, so the regular sage is not a new color. You can find that one in the individual listings. I don't have them listed individually yet. I should do that. And the other new color is called, oh, where did it go? Oh, you know what? Here it is. Raspberry Puree. Raspberry Puree. There it is. So all 4 together. These are the 4 new ones. And so these will be included in the Spring Quakers conversion, Or if you are not interested in the Spring Quakers conversion, but you want the new colors, these are the 4 new colors for May. And I know we're at the end of May, but they're still the new colors for May because there's new colors coming for June. June's right around the corner. So, whoops. Yeah, lovely. Lovely. Okay, so yes, new colors coming right around the corner, June 1st. June 1st. There's going to be a very special collection coming out on June 1st. So stay tuned for more information on that. The only other big thing, because there's one more big thing for me to tell you about for the shop. And that is that now that I'm going to have some help, I can do something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And it was, once again, it was Ellen who reminded me that I could do this now. And that is that I can offer a Bag of the Month club. So I am going to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list a Bag of the Month at the end of each month. And it is not going to be a subscription or something that only, you know, some people can join up for now, for the moment. Well, I'm pretty sure I have lots of fabric and I think I can make everybody's wish come true. And it's not going to be a surprise, all of it. The main part of it, the bag, I'm going to show you the fabric. So I'm going to show you the fabric that I'm going to be using for the June bag. And if you like the looks of it and you want to get in on it, then I will have a listing on the website. It'll be live tonight, and this will be June's Bag of the Month Club. And it also is going to be including 3 skeins of brand new Leo&Roxy floss. So every month we'll have a bag and 3 skeins of Leo&Roxy floss, as well as various little other extra little treats and goodies in there as well. You know, usually I love tea, so I usually try to find a fun tea bag, and maybe, you know, I don't know, we'll see what else we can put together, but it'll be a fun little Bag of the Month club. And I know I'm excited about it. So there's nothing to sign up for. If you decide that you really love the fabric of the month and you want to join in, you can hop on. I'm also going to offer the Bag of the Month in 3 different flavors. So if you like the wedge tote, you can order the Bag of the Month in a wedge tote. If you like the medium flat bag, you can order it in the medium flat. If you like the large flat bag, you can order it as a large flat. So I should be able to calculate my quantities and know how many I will have when I've listed the Bag of the Month. And so it should work out. So would you like to see the fabric for June's bag? I've had it behind me the whole time. Did you guess that already? So this is the fabric that I'm gonna work with for June. And if you love birds, this is the fabric. So hopefully the color on this is gonna turn out okay. There is a bit of metallic in this print. It's not a glitter, it's just a metallic in the fabric that gives it that bit of sheen. There's a beautiful bird. So this is the sort of size of the print. And so now you know the main detail about the bag if you fall in love with this fabric. I have already discussed with Carrie the 3 colors of floss that will be part of this set. I fell in love with this print when I first saw it, and I had to buy it. One of those bags is going to be for me. I love it. Carrie says that one of these bags is going to be for her too, because if you didn't know already, Carrie loves birds. She has an aviary in her house, and that is what Leo&Roxy, Roxy is her bird, Roxy. And yeah, I love this fabric. So that is my big exciting news. It's a lot, isn't it? It is a lot. And this is why I am so lucky that I found some people to come and help me do all of these things that I want to do, because it's, I'm loving it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. And on that note, there is one really big thing that we've been kind of working on behind the scenes, but it's not for me to tell you about. But I can leave you with this. Be watching for another video from Jacob. And Jacob will fill you in on all of the details. But I can tell you this, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really, really good. So be watching for a video from Jacob. And I think it's supposed to come out tomorrow, which is Friday. So on that note, I have no idea how long this video is, but I think I've gotten through everything that I had. I have 3 pages of notes. I got through it all. I did it. Next, see, this is why I shouldn't wait so long to record these videos, because they just, you know, I just have too many things to say. The videos would be shorter if I didn't wait. And on that note, I will say goodbye. So until next week, I hope you're well, I hope you're safe, and I hope that you have lots of stitching and crafting to enjoy. And take care, and I'll see you next week. Happy stitching, everybody.